World Wars II. Path of Fire, Section 8, The Way Forward. So we start off with talking to Zalamber, and trying to find any sort of direction to go in. And he obviously gives us a little bit to work with. So he's like, you can try heading over here and seeing what's in that general direction. So off we went. And at this point, we're kind of... the information he gives us is essentially go talk to the people out here. And we literally just spend way too much time talking to a whole mass of people about, like, Vlast. We talk a little bit about Vlast and, like, okay, so, like, what? And I find, like, it was just a lot of running around and talking. You didn't really have to do the hearts or anything. I think I completed one or two just because I was in the area. So it was very much just running around and exploring the Riverlands, which was fine. And we also ended up completing out the Skimmer Heart. That's what we had to do in this one, was, right? Yeah, because this is, yeah, pretty sure we had to do the Skimmer Heart at some point in this one. Because we ended up having to go to the birthplace of Vlast. So in order to do that, we needed to cross, like, the sand dunes or whatever. And in order to cross the sand dunes safely, a Skimmer is your best bet. And actually, Skimmers might be my favorite mount so far. Like, I'm sure I'm gonna love the Griffin and the Sky Scale that we get later. Do we get a Sky Scale? I know we get a Griffin. And there's another one in between the Skimmer and the Griffin. But I don't remember if there's a sixth one off the top of my head. But that comes in, like, you get the 3 mounts in Path of Fire, and then later in Living World Season 4, we get the next set of mounts. So I'm trying to get through all of these videos and get them, like, set to release and stuff before I move on to the next one, so I don't forget what we did in Path of Fire. And like I said, this is a lot of just, like, back and forth, and I'm kind of, like, waiting for something else to, like, happen to talk about, and, like, it hasn't happened yet. So through all of our talking and everything, we do find that there's Vlast's birthplace in the desert. It's this ancient city. It's forgotten about. Nobody really knows a whole lot about it, which I don't understand why nobody knows about it, because, well, we don't really know how old Vlast is, first of all, but, like, I'm a little... So he was born in the desert. He was raised by his keepers, the Forgotten? Is that who's helping me raise Ari? So they're so what is the timeline on Vlast? Like, how old is he? Because A, how have we not heard of his existence beforehand? Like, if he's just been chilling in the desert, like, alright, sure. But, like, if he's been chilling in the desert, how does nobody know? Or did he just not erupt from his sunken city until Balthazar showed up and he was like, oh shit, I gotta sort this out? Like, what? I was a little confused on the timeline of it all. So Vlast in general just seemed like a weird addition. Cause realistically it seems like not that much time has passed between Glint's death and their battle with Kralkatorg and now. So I don't know if like Vlast was born or hatched out of the egg pre-Glint's death and raised by the Forgotten, or if he was after Glint's death and then raised. Because I mean, you're operating like Kaith was part of it, and like Logan was part of it. And I mean, you have Air and Ritlock and the Azurin. I don't remember her name. Like, you had Destiny's Edge, a part of it. So not that much time has passed, realistically, because the Sylvari are less than 50 years old. Like, as a whole race, they just woke up one day and were like, we're fully grown, yay! And then Kaith went and helped defeat Kralkatorg, and then she ran off with Glint's apparently second egg. Like, it seemed like a lot has happened in the background. And you're just like, how has nobody put the pieces together before now? Because it was all moving too fast. That's why. And everybody had their heads buried in the sand. Like, no, I'm not dealing with it. I'm not getting involved. Not dealing with it. Like, listen, Kralkatorg is asleep. And that's that. Like, those are the vibes you get from the desert. Like, because they make it seem like the city has been buried forever. So did Glint have this egg and just the city got buried there, and like the egg hatched after it was buried? Like, what? I'm just confused as to how old Vlast is. That's the whole moral of this rant. I'm sorry. It was a rant. Unnecessary. Admittedly. So yes, we eventually talked to enough people to realize we have to go over some sand dunes to get to the Lost City. And so we have to complete the heart to unlock the skimmers, much like the springers. And it was actually pretty easy, and I kind of really liked just zooming around on the skimmer. And then we got our skimmer, and it made it really easy to just right over the desert, which was the whole point of it. And we go to I got distracted watching her eating the other skimmer, the last one, because they're so funny. Because they're just like, come on, keep going. I think that's all you do. So we get to where we think the temple should be, and we end up just like, yeah, alright, I'll go down this giant hole in the ground. I don't see a problem with that. My character is very much just like, dive first, ask questions later. It's fine, it's all fine. Literally, like, I do not have time to question what is at the bottom of this pit. Like, I have to just yeet myself into this. It's so hysterical. It really is. I just... So yeah, we can just zoom over the desert. And we do have to talk to another person along the way, like, oh hey, are we, essentially on the right path? And they're like, yeah, sure, go this way, fissure. So we head into the fissure and we just drop ourselves down into it, and then we're like, okay. And then we're in the caverns and we're like, okay. And then we just leap into the pit. Fortunately, I have wings and I can glide. And it is very much this sanded, fallen city. Like, it's just... And we see red, glowy fallen. And I was kind of a little like, why are they red? But we were kind of like, okay, we have to power everything back up. Like, they look like they're not powered. And so we end up powering everything back up. And we essentially get scolded for powering everything back up, because he's like, what are you doing? These are corrupted. Like, we cannot... No. So we beat them up. And... then he's willing to give us information and like help us with the story a little bit. Exalted, that's what they're called, the Exalted. And we're talking to him and he's like, what? No, like, I had to bury the city. Like, why did you do it? So we help him defeat the 3 Exalted that are corrupted by the Forged, and then he gives us, like, we can have him hover over the pedestals and he can share with us like recordings and clips of stuff of different memories. So through that we kind of get a little backstory on Flast and how he's kind of just raised by the Exalted, and very much lonely. And even he's like, we really should have like socialized him. Our bad. We didn't know how to raise a dragon. Like, we had a guidebook or something, but like, it was not complete. It was not complete how to raise a baby dragon. And he never had a champion like Ari has us. Like, he never got that. His champion never showed up. So he was a little salty about that. Little salty about having to live in essentially captivity and forced into this purpose that Glint and the Exalted had for him. And like, he knew at some point, I don't know, that like this was all his purpose was to help with this nonsense of Elder Dragon bullshit. So then once we get all the information, he gives us a little portal back to well, there's more forged obviously to beat up, because what would be a mission with only a couple things to beat up? They had to make up for the fact that we didn't beat anything up in the last one. So this actually, the forged sentry was a little annoying because he kept placing turrets. That was hella annoying. But this particular Exalted is very useful. I did actually like him. But he essentially like sacrificed himself, like, no, we can't we can't continue letting people down here. Like, if you found this area, other people are gonna find this area, and that's not okay. It's not okay. So yeah, we see this vision, how essentially like there has to be a balance, and when two elder dragons were defeated, that kind of, upset the balance. And we're kind of just like, oops, we didn't know. So then we discuss with Timmy and him, like, okay, so we have to restore the balance, but how? And Timmy's like, I'll figure it out, guys. And we're like, okay, sure, but that's it for this week. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.